What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today I'll be discussing from 1948 Melody Time, starring Roy Rogers, Trigger, Bobby Driscoll, and Luana Patton, and featuring music by the Andrews Sisters, Francis Langford, Sons of the Pioneers, Roy Rogers, of course, and others. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And like I said during the intro, today we're going to be discussing Melody Time. Just one more of the films during the wartime era, the package film era. The next to last film of that era. Tomorrow's film will be the final one for that particular era of Walt Disney Animation Studios filmography. And this film is very much in the same vein as Make Mine Music, as it uses more modern music of the time to score each of the 7 segments contained within the movie. Our first segment is called Once Upon a Winter Time, and in it, Francis Langford sings the title song about 2 young lovers on a winter day in December during the late 19th century. The lovers are named Jenny and Joe, and their story is intertwined with a similar rabbit couple. Joe shows off for Jenny on the ice, the two take a sleigh ride, etc. All the type of romantic stuff that you would expect a couple to do back in the day. It's a very, very sweet short, nothing too fancy, nothing really to write home about. The next segment is called Bumble Boogie, and it's another segment that was considered for Fantasia, but eventually scrapped from that production. In the segment, we see a bumblebee in a surrealistic battle as he tries to ward off a visual and musical frenzy. The music is provided by Freddie Martin and his orchestra, and is a swing jazz version of The Flight of the Bumblebee by Rimsky-Korsakov. This one was kind of fun, especially if you're a fan of The Flight of the Bumblebee. But again, it was just kind of a meh segment, especially when you compare it to the stuff that was in Make Mine Music, and then how centrally focused yesterday's film was. The Legend of Johnny Appleseed is next, and we're told the story of John Chapman, who spent most of his life roaming the Midwestern United States in the pioneer days and planting apple trees, which is how he earned his nickname. This one is kind of fun. I do remember seeing the Johnny Appleseed segment when I was younger, again on Disney Channel. I know I talked about during Make My Music how they would show some shorts during the gaps to kind of fill in time when a show ran short or something. This is another one of those shorts that I really remember seeing on the Disney Channel during those type of segments. Love the story of Johnny Appleseed. Now, the Little Toot segment is based on a story in which the title protagonist is a small tugboat who wanted to be just like his father, Big Toot. Unfortunately, he just can't stay out of trouble. And the Andrews sisters provide the voices for Little Toot, which is just a cute little tale. Again, nothing really to write home about here. It's a cute story, but it's not something that really grabs your attention. The next segment is called Trees, and it's a reciting of a 1913 poem by Joyce Kilmer. And the segment used the original story sketches, and in order to preserve the imagery, Ken O'Connor, the layout artist, decided to use frosted cells in order to render the pastel imagery right on the cell. The result was an animation look that had never been seen before. So definitely it was visually stunning and attractive. But other than that, the trees segment just really didn't hook me. Our next segment is called Blame It on the Samba. And in it, we are joined by Donald Duck and Jose Carioca, who meet the Aracuan bird, who in turn introduces them to the pleasures of the samba. And the segment features the Dinning sisters on vocals and organist Ethel Smith in a live-action role. Now, the only problem I really have with this segment is every package film so far that has featured Donald Duck, with the exception of Fun and Fancy Free Yesterday and the Tale of Mickey and the Beanstalk, has featured Donald learning the samba. Donald learned the samba in Saludos Amigos. Then they taught Donald the samba again in Three Caballeros. And then here, they're teaching Donald the joys of the samba. Shouldn't Donald already know about the samba by now? Like, okay, I could teach him the first time, cool. Second time, okay, maybe a refresher course. But for the third segment, the third package film that he's in with Jose Carioca to do the samba again, go into the well too much, guys. It's lost its pizzazz. Our final segment is the story of Pecos Bill, told by the legendary Roy Rogers to child actors Bobby Driscoll and Luana Patton, who had starred together in Song of the South and So Dear to My Heart. Now, Bobby Driscoll would go on to voice Peter Pan, which we'll get to in a few days once we enter the silver era of the Walt Disney Animation Studios. I believe that's the third film as part of that era. Now, Pecos Bill was a famous hero in Texas who was raised by coyotes, much in the vein of how Mowgli from the Jungle Book was raised by wolves. And he would go on to become the biggest and the best cowboy who ever lived. It also recounts Pecos Bill's ill-fated relationship with Slewfoot Sue, with whom he falls in love with at first sight. Now, the story of Pecos Bill and Slewfoot Sue, for you old-timers out there, and by old-timers I mean older than me, you may remember the original show at the Golden Horseshoe Saloon at Disneyland with Wally Bogue. Is very much a telling of the story of Pecos Bill and Slewfoot Sue. So this is definitely material that Disney got a lot of mileage out of, as it would become a cornerstone in Frontierland there in the original Magic Kingdom. Now, this segment was edited for home media in order to remove all parts with Bill smoking a cigarette, as well as almost the entire tornado scene, where Bill rolls a cigarette and lights it with a lightning bolt. However, in recent years, Disney has restored the segment on Disney Plus as originally conceived and shown within the film. This, I feel, is one of the weaker, honestly, package film era offerings. I do enjoy the more modern music, much like I did for Make Mine music. But with the exception of the Pecos Bill scene and the Johnny Appleseed scene, I'm really good on this. 2 out of 7 is not a good track record. Make Mine music was so much better overall in comparison, seeing as how they're both very much along the same lines of storytelling. I'm sorry, Walt Disney Company. When it comes to Melody Time, 2.5 out of 5 stars. This is just very, very lackluster to me, and it could have been presented so much better. So much better. Make sure you guys get out there on social media. Get those hashtags trending for me. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios, hashtag Renegades Reviews, hashtag Renegade Returns, and of course, the ever popular hashtag Shenanigans. We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade J.J. Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag Statboy Approved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Make sure you guys get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade J.J. Williams shirt, Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, Statboy Sports Bar, hashtag Statboy Approved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official merchandise for the Jeff Meacham Network. 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo for you to choose from, along with Talk Wrestling, Meachamania, and so much more. Get out there, help us out, and support. While you're showing your support, do what that ticker tells you. Go to that PayPal, send me a donation, or go to that link tree, purchase a movie off my Amazon movie wish list. Either way, I'll be eternally grateful for the support that you guys show me. Keep in mind, right now, I'm not monetized, so I can't make any money off of the views you guys give me, at least not until I get my viewer hours up. So the only way I can make anything at this time is if you guys do what that ticker tells you and show me some support that way. Whether you send me money to PayPal, however much you feel comfortable sending, greatly appreciate it. Or like I said, go to that link tree, purchase a movie off my Amazon wish list. When I receive it, open it on Renegade Recap, I'll give you a shout out. And then once I work it into a theme month and I'm able to watch it, review it, cover it the proper way, I'll give you a shout out again, just as a thank you for your donation, your support. So if you guys enjoy the hard work that I put into these, do what that ticker says, get out there, support me. Tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Make sure you tune in for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, when I will wrap up the wartime era, the package film era of the Walt Disney Animation Studios with The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad from 1949, featuring the voice talents of Basil Rathbone, Eric Blown, J. Pat O'Malley, Colin Campbell, Claude Allister, Bing Crosby, Pinto Colvig, Clarence Nash, and Billy Bletcher. You're not going to want to miss out tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as we wrap up the package film era of the Walt Disney Animation Studios films. To all my loyal fans watching, tuning in, that have been watching the premiere, leaving your comments over here, thank you very much, everybody. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. All my loyal viewers watching later on in the day on demand, leaving your comments down here. Thank you very much. Once again, I greatly appreciate you guys. I appreciate all my loyal fans who tune in on a regular basis and support me. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.